What's going on, guys? This is Damien from the Lookout, and I am here with Fusion World How to Play Starter Vegeta, your ultimate guide for playing the Starter Vegeta deck. But before we begin, guys, one important thing: we are hosting a free webcam proxy legal starter deck tournament for Fusion World on our Discord. Link is in the description below. It's open to all regions, and the winner gets a starter deck of their choice, free shipping and everything. So yeah, why not play? Go check it out, link is in the description below. And of course, a huge shout out to the Coffee Club, our lovely patrons. These are our $2 and up patrons that buy us coffee. They keep this crazy content machine going. And guys, thank you so much. If you wish to join the Coffee Club, link to our Patreon is in the description below. And I think that's about everything. Roll the video! As with all of our videos, let's start with the breakdown. So I'm gonna start with a brief archetype breakdown. I'll show you some lines of play, various card interactions. I'll give you a very detailed breakdown of your first 3 turns with this deck, and then we'll just wrap it up with a summary. Let's go! Let's start with our leader, very basic frontside Vegeta. When he attacks, you draw 1. When you're on 4 lives or less, you draw 1 and then you awaken. Like a very basic front side. This seems to be the standard case for all starter deck leaders. So let's just jump in and check out the awakened side. On the awakened side, this thing is an absolute monster. He's 20k when attacking, draw 1 card, and he has an incredible activate main. Once per turn, if you have 7 or less cards in your hand, he gets plus 15k. He becomes 35k. That is boss monster size in this deck. So your leader is a 35k attacker. That's insane. The low hand size gimmick is Vegeta's gimmick. So always when you have 7 or less, you're always gonna be getting some sort of a buff. That's it. So let's check out some payoffs for this. These are our payoffs for having 7 or less cards in hand. So we have 6 cards which benefit from this. As you can see, the majority of our deck revolves around benefiting from a low hand size. But how significant are these buffs? So for some cards, these are just power buffs. Some other cards have additional effects. But to fully understand how important the power buff is, we have to check out the power economy. What is power economy? Well, it's basically a breakdown of how strong cards are at certain costs. So we can see here that 2 cost cards like this Vegeta and Paragus have around 15k power. 3 costs like Beerus and the Skillless Frieza have around 20 to 25k power. Don't note that sometimes skillless cards just have a higher power in return for not having an ability. So it's around 20 to 25. And 5 cost, which are boss monsters, have 35k power. So keep these numbers in mind as we transition to the next slide. Taking those numbers into consideration, we need to see how strong our cards are at certain costs. So Trunks, for example, gets plus 10k if you have 7 or less cards in hand. So he is a 2 cost, 25k. So Trunks has a power equivalent of a skillless 3 cost card. Yes, and he costs only 2. For example, Goku, a boss monster, has 35k. But your Gohan, a free drop, gets plus 15 when you have 7 or less in hand. So your free cost is an equivalent of a boss monster in a different deck. Same goes for your leader. So if we crunch down the numbers, you have effectively 1 to 2 cost advantage over your opponent if you're playing these payoff cards. Your leader and your free drop Gohan hit as hard as a 5 cost boss monster, which is just insane. Especially with your leader, which just can't be removed, and then every turn you're swinging with a huge boss monster swing. We also have 2 boss monsters in this deck. The first one is Gotenks. Gotenks is pretty cool. He's deceptively powerful. He's 25k for 4, so that's not really where you want to be, because we saw a free cost card that's like 25, though that one is skillless. However, he has a very cool ability. On play, if you have 7 or less, you add up to 1 Goten and up to 1 Trunks Youth, cost 2 or less from your drop to your hand. These guys have plus 10k combo power. So the proper way to read this card is, because when you attack with him, you just combo with these two guys, that's plus 20k combo power. So he's a 4 cost 45k attacker. That's it. He's bigger than a boss monster when you combo with these pieces that you just got from your drop. Like this is bigger than the majority of boss monsters that we have seen so far. So yeah, 4 cost 45k swing. Amazing. Our second boss monster is Vegeta, 5 cost 35k double strike, so he deals 2 damage. On play, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with a cost 4 or less and place it at the bottom of its owner's deck. This one is a really solid card. So here's what you do. If you go first, if you started the game going first, then you're getting to 5 before your opponent. So their biggest card is a 4 drop. So when you get to 5, you play this one and then you just remove any card on their board, because nothing is bigger than 5. Nothing is bigger than 4 actually. And then you'll, for example, play this swing, you remove a blocker and then you swing for 2 damage. Like really good boss monster. We have 2 extra cards in the deck. First one is Galagan, and Galagan is phenomenal. It's a massive buff to your leader. So it's activate battle for 1 energy. You can use this card only in battle. You choose your leader or up to one of your battle cards and it gets plus 15k for the battle. And then if you have 7 or less in hand, you draw 1. So if this is your 8 card, for example, when you use it you run 7 and then you draw 1. This card can turn your leader into a 50k attacker. That's guaranteed damage. There's no getting out of that. So for 1 energy, when you run 7 or less, your leader swing is guaranteed damage. Plus you draw a card. It just replaces itself that way. Like this card is insane. This card is phenomenal. The other extra card is Final Flash, and Final Flash is also absurd. So for 2 energy, actually for 1, because it has a permanent where if you have 7 or less, it costs 1. So 1 blue energy, activate main, discard 1 card from your hand, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with a cost of 5 or less and place it at the bottom of their deck. Remove anything in the game, except like the 8 cost Brawly boss monster. Other than that, remove anything for 1 energy. Anything. Yeah, this swing is insane. This swing is absurdly strong. So yeah, there is only 1 card revealed which costs more than 5, and that's the Brawly boss monster. That one costs 8. But other than that, this is just remove any card in the game for 1 energy. Yeah, there you go. But you know what's even better? When you can recycle these things. Yes, you have this Piccolo, free cost 20k. On play, if you have 7 or less cards in your hand, add up to 1 extra card from your drop back into your hand. Yeah, how do you like that guaranteed damage with Gallic Gun in your leader swing? Well, for free, you can just have it back. Or opponent is putting out troublesome cards and you're out of Final Flashes, free energy, get Final Flash back. So the best way to think of Piccolo is as an extra copy of any extra card in your deck. Yeah, that's how you go about this one. Now let's go into the mulligan. Okay, so this is our suggestion for the mulligan. You need a 1-drop, like any 1-drop. That's why we're not putting them here. It's great to get Galagan, because Galagan is like plus 15k, either in offense or in defense. You need Trunks Youth. 2 copies is okay to keep. 2 copies is okay to keep. And let's say for the last one, let's go with Gohan. Like there's gonna be some other examples, but let's just go with Gohan for the 3rd card. 3rd slot is always kind of flexible. So let's just say turns 1, 2, and 3. Welcome to the portion of the video where I explain to you how to play the first 3 turns of the game. We don't have a deck builder yet, so assume that you're running all of the cards with skills from the starter deck. You just took out the skillless ones and you're running everything that has text on it. We are assuming that you're going first and that you have kept the shown mulligan. Alright, let's see what Vegeta can do. Turn 1, the usual setup. Here is what our turn 1 usually looks like. So you start the game, you charge an energy, and then you pay 1 to play Trunks. For example, you go with Trunks, there are other 1-drops. You draw a card and then you pass the turn. Like, there isn't much to do on turn 1 other than that. You can play Bulma, for example, though the thing is you want to take damage. You want to take damage to awaken as fast as possible. So a nice cantrip, pay 1, draw 1 card, that's good enough. On your opponent's turn 2, they're gonna start swinging at you. So the important thing to know is you don't mind taking damage. You want to go down to 4 lives as fast as possible, because that's when you get your activate main, which makes your leader huge. Turn 2, it's time to apply some pressure. We start the turn, we charge 1, and then we pay 2 energy to play Trunks. We take a life. Let's say that we're still not on 4. So we just take a life, then we attack with our leader, we draw a card, and then we combo down to 7 in hand. Our attack resolves, we probably deal damage, and then we attack with a 25k, because Trunks' permanent will be online, because we have 7 or less in hand, he's gonna get plus 10, so we just attack with a 25k 2-drop, the attack resolves, and then we end our turn. And finally, turn 3, Awakening and more aggro. We start the turn and we charge 1, we pay 2 to play Trunks. We take a life, and let's say that now we are on 4. We awaken, draw 1, and use activate main to become a 35k leader, because we have 7 or less in hand. Then Trunks gets plus 10k, so we attack with a 25k Trunks. The attack resolves, and then we attack with a 35k leader. What now? We have 1 energy opened. Well, we either use our Galley Gun or we just don't. So if you feel the need to push further, you can just use Galley Gun. If you feel the need that you have to defend yourself next turn, you keep it. And then you just use it on your defense step to give your leader a boost. There is also route B. Let's say that you don't have the Trunks, or you don't want to play it. Let's say you wish to be even more aggressive. You can spend all free energy to play Gohan. If there's nothing to be afraid of, if you're like, yes, I think that my opponent can't beat me next turn, I don't need defenses, you can go with Gohan, who's a 35k attacker. And then just go all out and start attacking with huge swings. Finally, regardless of what happens, you want to use your Gallic Gun on turns 3 and or future turns, because this card is just absurd. Just try to always have energy for Gallic Gun, because Gallic Gun is practically guaranteed damage, plus it's a major defensive boost and it draws you a card. So onwards, just try to use this card as often as you can, because it's absurd. Before we wrap up the video, let's just jump into the summary. Vegeta looks like an incredibly powerful deck. You're playing on low hand size for the majority of the game, so you need to be careful not to die on the clapback if you run out of combo power. Be very careful about this part, because 7, we don't know how high and or low 7 is. But 7 or less sounds low, so make sure to always count your combo power and to always, adjust to the situation so that you don't randomly die on the clapback if you don't manage to kill your opponent. Galley Gun is an amazing offensive and defensive card, as the boost is huge and you get to draw. Use it as often as you can once you awaken. We expect this deck to become even better once more blue cards get revealed, so if you're looking to pick up a deck for Fusion World, this one has a very high recommendation. That's it for the video. Let me know in the comments below, are you hyped to play Vegeta? Is this the blue deck that you're going to be playing when Fusion World comes out, or maybe at the event this Saturday? Let me know in the comments below. I read all of your comments, I try to respond to everything. I love our little community. And guys, while you're here, hit those like and subscribe buttons. We are on our way to 4,000 subs when I'm gonna give away a booster box. This has been Damien from the Lookout, and I'll see all of you in the next video.